Good morning and welcome to Athens, Greece. It is our last morning on the ship. We started in Venice and traveled down the Adriatic Sea along the coast of Croatia, Slovenia, Montenegro, visited 3 islands in Greece, and now we're in Athens. It's the time to get off. But I'm not too sad because we're going to be spending a few days here in Athens. We'll see the Acropolis, the old Olympic Stadium, a lot of the other sights to see here, and we're also going to be visiting the beautiful city of Meteora, so definitely want to come along with us for that. But now it's time to get off the ship. So here's our first look at the port of Athens in Greece. It's about 7:30 in the morning. We're getting off here in about 15 minutes. Erica's ready. Got all of our bags packed. So I think we're about ready to head out. We disembarked the ship and found our transfer vehicle that was going to take us from the port to downtown. Along the way, we passed the soccer stadium that's home to the Olympiacos FC, which is a professional soccer team in Athens. The traffic here was kind of crazy, but eventually we reached our hotel. This is not a picture of our hotel, but we got there early, and so we couldn't check in, but we left our bags there at the hotel and started to explore this amazing city. Athens is one of the oldest cities, with a recorded history spanning over 3,400 years, and evidence of human presence dates back even further to between the 11th and 7th millennia BC. It was the heart of ancient Greece, a powerful civilization that laid the foundations for Western culture. And today, we are going to see as much of the city as we possibly can, and our first stop is the Roman Agora. We are at the Roman Agora right now, and this is the entrance. So we're going to explore this place, one of the ruins here in Athens. Erica is reading about all there is to see here, getting the history of this place. It was built between 19 and 11 BC.
Maybe it's sewage.
Yeah, it probably is. The sewage was added in 1986 here. You might be wondering how I knew so much about the sewer here, but there was a little plaque on the sewer that said 1986, so it wasn't that hard to figure out. Maybe this place isn't as ancient as I thought it was. Actually, the Roman Agora is pretty ancient. It was an ancient marketplace built during the late 1st century BC after Athens became part of the Roman Republic. It was funded primarily by Julius Caesar and Augustus as a new commercial center to complement the old Agora of Athens. This marketplace marked the transition from Greek to Roman influence in Athens, and it functioned as the city's central market during the Roman period. Over time, it was repurposed during Byzantine, Ottoman, and modern periods. That's a pretty cool tree up there. This is the Tower of the Wind at the Roman Agora. The Tower of the Wind stands almost perfectly preserved. This octagonal marble structure built in the 2nd century BC functioned as a sophisticated water clock, sundial, and weather vane. Walking around the Roman Agora in Athens feels like stepping back in time, surrounded by ruins that tell the story of the city's transition from Greek to Roman rule. The site is smaller and more open than the older ancient Agora, which we'll be visiting later, but it still offers an impressive glimpse into the Athens past. We left the Roman Agora and began walking to the Ancient Agora in Athens. This is a short, scenic journey through one of the city's most historic neighborhoods. The walk usually takes about 5 to 10 minutes, but somehow we went around the wrong way, and so our walk, I think, took about 20 to 30 minutes. But we eventually made it there. So right now we are in the Ancient Agora. We visited the Roman Agora earlier. This is the Ancient Agora. It is much bigger. and a big park and a beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky. We stopped by this little plaque and monument that talked about the Apostle Paul and his time in Athens. But then we made our way to the Stoa of Attalos. This is one of the most impressive and well-preserved structures in the ancient Agora of Athens. It was originally built in the 2nd century BC by King Attalus II of Pergama, and it served as a covered shopping arcade where merchants and traders sold their goods. Today it stands as a stunning example of Hellenistic architecture and houses the Museum of Ancient Agora. The Stoa is a 2-story colonnaded building that stretches 115 meters or 377 feet long and 20 meters or 65 feet wide. It features Doric columns on the ground floor reflecting traditional Greek architectural style and Iconic columns on the upper floor, adding a more refined and decorative element. It has shaded walkways, making it an ideal place for Athenians to gather, to shop, and to socialize. The Stoa was designed to provide shelter from the sun and rain, allowing it to function as a public marketplace and meeting space throughout the year. Inside you'll find numerous statues and sculptures, some of which once adorned the Agora. You'll also find pottery and coins and inscriptions. This guy, we think, has a big mole on his chin, or it could be a cancerous growth. And Erica thinks this guy had a nice butt. And as you walk through the Stoa, you get a sense of how ancient Athenians once moved through this space. Stepping beyond the Stoa, you find yourself in the open expanse of the Agora, surrounded by ruins of ancient buildings that once played a key role in Athenian democracy and daily activities. Dirt paths weave through scattered columns, foundations, and stone blocks, each telling part of the site's story. This was the southeast fountain house. Here are Confucius and Socrates. You can guess which one is which. I'm guessing Confucius is right there, and Socrates is right there. We found a Grecian turtle.
Of course, then we heard that it was back to their shells. We wouldn't cover it completely, but...
As you stroll through the Agora, the sounds of modern Athens fade into the background, replaced by the rustling of olive trees, the chirping of cicadas, and the occasional footsteps of fellow visitors. Despite being a major tourist site, there's a certain peacefulness here, especially in the morning or late afternoon when the crowds thin out. There she is, Miss America, in Greece. But now we're heading to the Temple of Hephaestus. It is situated on Agorius Colonus Hill, on the northwest side of the Agora of Athens. And it was a little trek just to get to the top of this hill. But once you reach the top, the views are just amazing. You get a detailed overview of all of the Agora, and you can see the Stoa there in the distance. You also get a great view of the Acropolis and the Parthenon up on top of that hill. But we were here to see the Temple of Hephaestus. It is a remarkably well-preserved ancient Greek temple and is a significant historical landmark in Athens. It was constructed in the 5th century BC during the golden age of classical Athens and is considered one of the best preserved Doric temples in Greece. Walking around the ancient Agora of Athens is more than just exploring ruins and looking at statues and sculptures. It's an immersion into the birthplace of democracy, philosophy, and Western civilization. From the bustling marketplaces to political debates, religious ceremonies, and philosophical discussions, this site was the beating heart of ancient Athens, and its legacy still resonates today. Alright, I think we've seen enough here. It's time to go. I'm getting kinda hungry. Luckily, the Ancient Agora at Athens is located right next to the Plaka district. And as soon as you leave the Agora, you'll see a lot of shops and cafes. But Erica had her mind set on a certain cafe that we were going to eat at today. So although we passed about 100 cafes along the way, we just kept walking and walking and walking. And I was getting a little hangry. But eventually, we made it to the restaurant that Erica wanted to eat at today. It was a traditional family-owned Greek restaurant, and we ate traditional Greek food. It wasn't too bad. I didn't leave hungry, that's for sure. Our next stop was Hadrian's Library. It was just a few blocks from the restaurant that we just ate at. Hadrian's Library was built by the Roman Emperor Hadrian in AD 132. It was a grand structure in Athens, Greece, intended as a center for learning and cultural activities. It was the largest library in Athens and served as a repository for books and documents while also providing space for lectures, philosophical discussions, and public reading. The library was designed in the typical Roman style, with a courtyard surrounded by a colonnade. The eastern side housed the main library hall and reading rooms, while the courtyard featured decorative gardens and statues. It was part of Hadrian's broader efforts to revitalize Athens as a cultural hub of the Roman Empire. Over the centuries, Hadrian's library suffered from destruction due to invasions and natural disasters. In the Byzantine period, a church was built within its ruins, and later during the Ottoman era, it was repurposed for various uses. The columns in Hadrian's library are huge, and in this clip you can see a person standing next to them and just see how tall they are. The columns were originally over 30 feet high, and they were built in the Corinthian order. Today, only a few of these towering columns remain standing at the entrance of the site. Just a few blocks from Hadrian's library is Monastiraki Square. This square is one of the most vibrant and historic areas in Athens, Greece. It sits in the heart of the city, surrounded by a mix of ancient ruins, Ottoman-era buildings, and modern shops and cafes. The square is a major hub for locals and tourists alike, offering a unique blend of history, culture, and commerce. And if you're here, you have to visit the Monastiraki Flea Market. This is a lively market known for its mix of antiques, souvenirs, handcrafted vintage clothing, books, and local Greek products. They also have a farmer's market as well. And while you're here, you need to explore the narrow streets full of street vendors and traditional Greek stores. But once you leave Monastiraki Square, you will step out onto Irmu Street. It is one of the busiest and most famous shopping streets in Athens, Greece, and it stretches for about 1.5 kilometers, or just a little less than 1 mile. But after walking down the street for a little bit, we decided it was time to head back to our hotel and check in and get to our room. We were going to rest for a little bit, and then we were going to head to the Acropolis. But along the way, we passed by this church called the Holy Metropolitan Church of the Annunciation to the Virgin Mary. That's quite a name, but the church was stunning and the interior was just amazing. The church is also known as the Metropolitan Cathedral of Athens, and it is the most important official church of the Greek Orthodox Church in Athens, and it serves as the main cathedral in the city and the seat of the Archbishop of Athens. Construction of the church started in 1842 and it was completed in 1862. And right next to it, you'll find the little metropolis, a much smaller but historically significant Byzantine church. We continued to make our way back to our hotel, but we stopped by some of these shops along the way and did a little bit of shopping. There was olive oil stuff everywhere in the shops in Athens. Once we got back to our hotel and checked in, we went to our room, and this is the view from our balcony. I was so impressed with the view that I forgot to get any video of the room, but the view was just amazing and spectacular. We were able to see some ancient ruins right across the street from our balcony. After a quick rest, we stepped outside to explore these nearby ruins, and our first stop was the Arch of Hadrian. Our next stop was the Temple of the Olympian Zeus, and it is one of the most impressive ancient ruins in Athens. It was once the largest temple in Greece and was dedicated to Zeus, the king of the Olympian gods. The temple's construction began in the 6th century BC during the rule of some guy I can't pronounce, but it was not completed until 132 AD by Roman Emperor Hadrian. So the hotel that we are staying at here in Athens is the Athens Gate Hotel, or Athens Gate Hotel, and it is right across the road from these ruins. I know it is tough to tell from this angle, but these columns here are humongous. I have no idea how the ancient Greeks got these in their upright position. They are huge. I would guess probably about 3 or 4 stories tall, if not more, but huge columns here, and it's pretty neat. One of the columns has fallen down. That's probably why they won't let you get close to the rest of them. But there it is, laying on the ground, and you can see it almost looks like a log that was cut up. But those are pieces of marble. If you really look closely at the one that's standing, you can see that it is multiple different pieces of marble that are just stacked on top of each other. When Emperor Hadrian completed the temple, he placed a massive gold and ivory statue of Zeus inside, along with the statue of himself as a sign of his power. It originally had 104 massive columns standing 56 feet tall and about 5.5 feet in diameter. Today, only 15 columns remain standing. But this afternoon, we have a reserved time to see the Acropolis, and now is our time to get there. We made it into the grounds of the Acropolis. Here we go. Our first stop was the Oedon of Herodias Atticus. I probably butchered that name, but you can also call it the Big Amphitheater. It is a massive stone theater built in 161 AD by the wealthy Roman Herodian Atticus in memory of his wife. The amphitheater once had a wooden roof and could hold about 5,000 spectators, and today it is still used for concerts and performances. After passing the theater, you'll reach the grand entrance. This is a monumental entrance to the Acropolis. It was built in 437 to 432 BC. The marble columns and massive gateway set the stage for the wonders beyond. The Temple of Athene Nike is a small temple dedicated to the goddess of victory, and it stands on the right side of the entrance to the Acropolis. But after making our way through the entrance, this is our first view of the Parthenon. But just to the north of the Parthenon stands the Erechtheion. It is known for its porch of the Caryatides, where 6 beautifully sculpted female statues serve as columns. This temple was dedicated to both Athena and Poseidon, as it was believed to be the site of their mythical contest for Athens. Well, we made it to the Acropolis, and right behind me there is the Parthenon. Pretty cool. But the centerpiece of the Acropolis is the Parthenon. It is the most famous temple in Greece, and it dominates the hilltop. It was built in 447 to 432 BC, and it was dedicated to Athena, the patron goddess of Athens. It originally housed a massive gold and ivory statue of Athena. In the distance, you can see a viewing platform and the big Grecian flag flying in the distance. The Acropolis offers stunning panoramic views of Athens. And if you're looking to see an overview of the whole city, this is one of the places that you have to visit. From this site, you can also see Lycabettus Hill, which is the highest point in Athens.
So great to me. How many times are we going to say that this time?
The Parthenon was built entirely from marble, giving it a bright, almost glowing appearance. But after walking around the Parthenon, we decided to take a closer look at the Erechtheion again. And we decided to walk all the way around this amazing structure. And it seemed like on the back side they almost had this walkout basement kind of look. And there was this beautiful olive tree there as well. But then we made our way back toward the Parthenon. The Parthenon has 8 columns on the short sides and 17 on the long sides. So we're here at the Parthenon on the Acropolis, and on this end they have a bunch of scaffolding and they are doing some restoration, and they've been doing it since what year was it?
1911.
2011.
Oh yeah. It's been a long day.
Maybe 2011. But yeah, pretty cool.
Not 19.
All right. All right. So we're sitting here on a bench at the Parthenon, and this has probably been the most enjoyable time we've had today. We are just people watching families take pictures, watching big groups take pictures, watching people that want to be Instagram models take pictures. Eric was trying to do a sexy walk earlier, but
That's because you asked me to.
I asked her to, but she really didn't do it that well. I was jumping around earlier. It looked like we had the whole place to ourselves for a while, and we are just sitting here until somebody offers to pay us money to move off this bench. It is a marble bench, but I don't think it's been here as long as the buildings, but it's still pretty nice. So we are waiting for the sun to go down some. I don't know if we'll make it till sunset. That's another hour away. But Parthenon is nice. Acropolis, big hill, middle of Athens. Definitely recommend. The question of the day is this lady wearing pants or is it just a jacket? Well, just a quick update. We were planning on staying at the Acropolis, Parthenon, until sunset. But there's some soldiers and stuff that came in around 6, and apparently it closes then. And so I got a great video of the soldiers coming in, and but they kicked us out. So the sun doesn't set for about another 30 minutes or so, but we're gonna not get a view it from the top of the Acropolis. Sometimes things just don't go your way. So after the soldiers walked by, there were several ladies with these whistles that worked up there on the Acropolis, and they were just kind of shooing people out the exits. And so we walked back past the grand entrance and out. And as you can see, some of these columns might needed some work. I'm not sure how stable that column was. Leaving the Acropolis at closing time was definitely a unique experience. And as you make your way down the rocky pass, the atmosphere feels quieter, giving you a final chance to soak in the grandeur of the site before stepping back into modern Athens. The pass leading down can be a bit uneven, so it's best to watch your step, but that's hard because you want to keep looking back at the Acropolis. Just outside the gated entrance to the Acropolis is another little hill that you can go up and have some stunning views of the Acropolis and also the city of Athens. And so I decided to go up there for a little bit and check it out before we left this amazing site. Erica and the walkers decided to wait for me at the bottom of this little hill though. I think they all needed some rest. At the base of the Acropolis is this pedestrian street that led back to our hotel, and it is lined with street musicians, artists, and cafes, and also this bubble guy. It was pretty cool. But on our way back, we stopped at one of those traditional Greek cafes and got some Greek food again. It was pretty tasty. Well, that about finishes our first day in Athens. Once we headed back to our hotel, I went back on the balcony again to catch some of the night views. It was very beautiful. If you've enjoyed these videos, please hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed already to our channel, please subscribe. We are still on a mission to get 1,000 subscribers, and we would greatly appreciate you following us along on our journey. And don't be afraid to leave us a comment as well.